Bethlehem and the humble birth of Jesus. But what if I told you that Bethlehem is much more than just the backdrop for the Christmas story? What if this small town is in fact the epicenter of God's unfolding plan for humanity, a place whose significance runs deep through the veins of biblical prophecy, conflict, and destiny? While Bethlehem is often romanticized, many forget that this town, nestled in the heart of modern-day Palestine, lies at the intersection of political upheaval and religious significance. But why Bethlehem? Why did God choose such a seemingly insignificant place to introduce his Son to the world? Is it a coincidence? Or is Bethlehem woven into the very fabric of biblical prophecies? Today, we'll uncover how Bethlehem's past, present, and future are intricately connected to God's divine plan. If you thought Bethlehem was just about shepherds and wise men, you're about to discover a much deeper story, one that spans millennia and is still unfolding today. Long before Bethlehem became known as the birthplace of Jesus, it held a deep significance in Jewish history. The first time Bethlehem appears in the Bible is in the book of Genesis. It is referred to as Ephrath or Ephrathah in ancient times. But what makes this location so essential? In the book of Genesis 35:19, we read about the tragic death of Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, who died while giving birth to Benjamin near Bethlehem. Rachel's tomb still stands just outside Bethlehem, a reminder of the deep emotional ties the Jewish people have with this land. But Bethlehem's importance doesn't end there. Centuries later, Bethlehem would become the home of King David, Israel's greatest king. The young shepherd boy who would rise to slay Goliath hailed from this small town. Bethlehem was David's home, and it became known as the City of David. It was from this place that the Davidic dynasty was born, a dynasty that would hold promise for the future of Israel. But did you know that Bethlehem's role in the Bible is not just historical, but also prophetic? In Micah 5:2, a prophecy was given that the future ruler of Israel would come from Bethlehem. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come from me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times. This prophecy, given 700 years before the birth of Jesus, pinpoints Bethlehem as the birthplace of the Messiah. How could such a small, insignificant town be destined for such greatness? This brings us to the question, was Bethlehem chosen by accident, or was its destiny foretold from the beginning of time? One of the most significant events in human history took place in Bethlehem, the birth of Jesus Christ. According to the Gospel of Matthew and Luke, Jesus was born in Bethlehem to fulfill the prophecy of Micah. But why Bethlehem, and why at that specific time? At the time of Jesus' birth, Bethlehem was under Roman occupation, and a decree had gone out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. Luke 2:1. This forced Mary and Joseph to travel to Bethlehem, Joseph's ancestral home, to register. The timing seems almost too coincidental. Did Caesar unknowingly play a part in fulfilling God's divine plan? Some might argue that Bethlehem's role in prophecy could have been fulfilled anywhere, but the Bible makes it clear that Jesus' birth in Bethlehem was not a mere accident. It was part of a divine orchestration. The Gospel writers emphasize this point to show how Jesus' life aligns with Old Testament prophecies. For centuries, Jewish scholars and rabbis had anticipated the arrival of the Messiah, the son of David who would rule from his ancestral town. Jesus' arrival in Bethlehem was not just a birth, it was a fulfillment of centuries of expectation. Yet, even with its connection to prophecy, Bethlehem was and still is a place of conflict. During the time of King Herod, Jesus' birth sparked fear and violence, as Herod ordered the massacre of the innocents in Bethlehem, slaughtering every male child under the age of 2, in an attempt to kill the newborn king. Matthew 2:16. In many ways, Bethlehem's story reflects the largest struggle between power, prophecy, and salvation. The innocent blood spilled in Bethlehem foreshadowed the ultimate sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. Fast forward 2,000 years, and Bethlehem is still a focal point of conflict. Modern-day Bethlehem is part of the West Bank, a territory that has been at the center of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict for decades. Today, Bethlehem is predominantly Palestinian and Christian, but it is surrounded by Israeli settlements and the controversial separation wall built by Israel. The irony of Bethlehem, a town associated with peace because of Jesus' birth, being caught in such tension, is not lost on many. The political struggle over Bethlehem is emblematic of the larger Israeli-Palestinian conflict. While Israel claims the entire city of Jerusalem as its capital, Palestinians seek to make East Jerusalem, just 6 miles from Bethlehem, the capital of a future Palestinian state. Bethlehem therefore lies at the heart of this political and religious battleground. Pilgrims from around the world visit the Church of the Nativity, built on the traditional site of Jesus' birth, but they also witness the harsh realities of the ongoing conflict. The checkpoints, the barriers, and the military presence serve as a stark reminder that the prophetic significance of Bethlehem is still unfolding. The Bible speaks of wars, rumors of wars, and tribulation in the land of Israel in the last days. Could Bethlehem's current state be a reflection of these prophecies? Some scholars believe that Bethlehem's role in end-time events is not over, and that this small town may once again play a crucial role in the culmination of biblical prophecy. Bethlehem is often referred to as the city of David, but it is also known as the birthplace of Jesus Christ, the King of Kings. In this sense, Bethlehem represents 2 very different types of kingship. On the one hand, David, the warrior king, who established Israel as a dominant force in the ancient world. On the other, Jesus, the suffering servant who brought a message of peace, love, and redemption. These 2 kings reflect the dual nature of Bethlehem's spiritual significance. On one hand, it is a place of earthly power, where kings like David ruled with strength and might. On the other hand, it is a place of divine humility, where Jesus, the Son of God, was born in a manger, surrounded by animals and shepherds. This duality is what makes Bethlehem so unique. It is a place where heaven meets earth, where prophecy meets fulfillment, and where the line between the physical and the spiritual is blurred. For Christians, Bethlehem is not just a place, it is a symbol of God's promise to send a Savior, a symbol of hope in the midst of conflict. One of the most intriguing aspects of Bethlehem is its connection to end-times prophecy. According to many interpretations of the Bible, Bethlehem's story is not over. Some believe that just as Bethlehem was the birthplace of Jesus during his first coming, it may also play a role in his second coming. The book of Revelation speaks of a great tribulation that will take place in Israel, and many Christians believe that Jesus will return to Jerusalem to establish his millennial kingdom. Could Bethlehem, the city of his birth, once again be part of this prophetic timeline? It's interesting to note that Bethlehem is only 6 miles from Jerusalem, the city where Jesus was crucified and resurrected. The proximity of Bethlehem to Jerusalem places it at the center of biblical prophecy and eschatology. Many believe that the events unfolding in Bethlehem and the surrounding region are setting the stage for the fulfillment of end-times prophecies. Today, Bethlehem is a city of contrasts. On one hand, it is a bustling town filled with tourists, pilgrims, and religious sites. On the other, it is a city marred by conflict, division, and economic hardship. The separation wall that runs through the West Bank, cutting off Bethlehem from much of the surrounding area, is a physical reminder of the barriers, both literal and spiritual, that exist in this land. But in the midst of these challenges, Bethlehem remains a city of hope. Every year, thousands of Christians from around the world travel to Bethlehem to celebrate Christmas at the Church of the Nativity. They come to honor the birth of Jesus and to reflect on the significance of his life, death, and resurrection. For many, Bethlehem is more than just a tourist destination. It is a place where they can connect with their faith in a profound way. Despite the political challenges, the spiritual significance of Bethlehem continues to draw people from all walks of life. So, what can we as Christians take away from the story of Bethlehem? Bethlehem reminds us that God often works through the small and insignificant. Just as God chose a humble town like Bethlehem to be the birthplace of his Son, he can use the seemingly insignificant moments in our lives to fulfill his greater purpose. As Christians, we're called to be bearers of that hope, sharing the good news of Jesus' birth, life, death, and resurrection with a world that desperately needs to hear it.